Do you ever feel like you don't deserve your success? Like you're just waiting for someone to figure out that you're a fraud? If you're constantly feeling this way, this is what's called imposter syndrome. Now, according to Psychology Today, about 25 to 30% of high achieving individuals suffer from imposter syndrome. Moreover, around 70% of adults have experienced imposter feelings at least once in their lifetime. Now, here's what's interesting. The more successful you become, the more you're likely to face imposter syndrome. A survey of 5,000 individuals out of a network based in the UK found that people with PhDs are almost twice as likely to experience imposter syndrome compared to those with only secondary education. So, what does all this mean? Well, if you're feeling this way right now, I want you to know that you're not alone. And that is why in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 simple steps to overcome imposter syndrome and transform that self-doubt into unshakable confidence. Stick with me. And you're going to want to take a lot of notes. And no, it doesn't involve yelling affirmations in the mirror. We'll save that for another video. So let's talk about that little voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough. That one. That's not you. It sounds like you, but it's not you. It's a story that you've been told. And to make sure that you know that it's not you, I recommend you give it a name. Yeah, like a real name. So for mine, my voice that tries to tell me that I'm not good enough, I've ironically named it Wingman. This voice really got loud when I was at the peak of my success with the professional wingman back in my mid 20s. I remember having crushed a segment on the Steve Harvey show. It was based in Chicago at the time. I'm celebrating on a rooftop lounge surrounded by people I knew, I didn't know. People thought I was some type of celebrity. And at the time, I had recently got married. I was making 6 figures. Clients were flying me around the country to work with them. To anyone's perspective, it was an amazing life. And I remember sitting there because I had table service thanks to the rooftop bar. I looked at myself in the mirror and it was almost if another version of me, it wasn't me, but another version of me said, dude, like you just pulled this off. Like, how much longer do you think you can get away with this? And I was surprised to even hear that. And I was like, what? That's not me. Why does it look like me? Why does it sound like me? It's like, yeah, you. Like, they're going to figure it out, right? And I was so confused. And once that part of me saw that vulnerability, it just ate into me. It just started saying, hey, man, you're not going to be able to do this. Do you even know where you're going with this? What's your purpose? What's your next move? Really? You think you can do that? All these things started to come up. And after a while, I started to believe it. I started to believe that voice. In fact, that voice sounded so much like me, I thought it was me. And then all of a sudden, I started to self-sabotage because I heard a voice telling me that I wasn't good enough to live in the success that I had created for myself, that I actually created. I wasn't lucky. I created that. And I let this voice tell me that I did get lucky and that I wasn't worthy or deserving of that success. Now, it wasn't until in reflection, many years later, after nearly destroying my life, that I realized it wasn't me. And to make sure that I knew that it wasn't me, I named it Wingman. Because here's the truth about Wingman. Wingman wants to be successful, but he also doesn't want to put himself out there. He wants to be admired and praised and loved, but he doesn't want rejection. He wants success, but he doesn't want the responsibility that comes with it. Right? He wants all these things, but then when it's time to step up and actually have these things, he talks himself out of it. And I know that, and I love that part. I love the part that wants the things, but I have to be mindful about the other part that will talk me out of doing the things. He's even here right now trying to convince me that this video that I'm making right now for you isn't good enough for you to get value out of it. So we have to be really, really mindful that this voice is trying to talk us out of not doing the thing that we want to do, talk you out of the thing that you ultimately want to do. And here's the truth. The things that Wingman says, they're not facts. They're stories. And like any story, they can be rewritten. Imposter syndrome often stems from childhood experiences or workplace dynamics, whether they're traumatic or even good. And most of these lies come from a desire to be perfect, either a fear of failure, or even past experiences where you were judged or rejected. In fact, studies show that perfectionists and overachievers are the most prone to imposter syndrome. But here's the kicker. See, those lies, they don't define you. Take a moment to think about one lie that you've been telling yourself recently. Go ahead. I'll wait. You got it? Now I want you to write it down. By the way, after you write it down, share it below so others can see that they're not alone in thinking or feeling the way that they do. And I'll respond to as many as I can. Okay, so I want to acknowledge you because you've taken the first step in taking that story's power away. And this is something I want you to think about across any story that doesn't serve you. I want you to think about it like an outdated app on your phone. You try to open it, sometimes it doesn't even open, it's glitchy, it is annoying, it pings you with a bunch of notifications trying to distract you from the things that you want to do, and it bogs down your phone. And the reality is, it's in dire need of an upgrade ASAP. And that's where you come in. The second step is all about reclaiming your power. I want you to understand that you have earned every single win in your life. And now it's time you own that. Instead of saying things like, I just got lucky with that project. Well, it just worked out in my favor. Try breaking it down using the STAR method. It's a framework commonly used to improve interview skills when people are trying to get a job. And it goes like this. You ask yourself, what was the situation? What tasks did you take on? What actions did you take? And what were the results? And listen, with every successful moment, when you break it down into these steps, you notice how much you contributed to the result. Imagine if Tom Brady said, I just got lucky winning those 7 Super Bowl rings. Or if Michael Jordan said, yeah, those 6 championships, I got lucky. Or if Tiger Woods said, yeah, all those green jackets in the closet, that was total luck. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Well, neither does the voice of your self-doubt. And when you see it written out like this, then it becomes clear. Like, you didn't get lucky. You showed up, you took action, and you delivered. So take one win that you're proud of and write it down using this framework. And I promise you, you're going to be amazed at how quickly your story shifts about what success looks like for you. Now, let's talk about the antidote to self-doubt and fear, which is confidence. Confidence isn't this switch that you flip. It's actually a muscle that you build over time. That's why step 3 is about creating simple routines to help keep imposter syndrome at bay. So let's work on your reps by using what I like to call the 3 R's routine. The 3 R's are reflect, record, and remind. So you reflect by asking yourself at the end of each day, what did I do well today? And then you record by writing it down. And you start to create a running list of your wins, no matter how big or how small. Now, some people call this a brag book or a brag journal, but basically it's an entire collection of your lifetime wins. And then you remind yourself of these wins every single day. Take a moment each day and read through that book because it'll be your indisputable proof that not only are you capable of success, but you've amassed success already. Now, I challenge you to start this routine and do this for the next 7 straight days. And it takes just a few moments, but the impact of it is huge. I mean, I remember making a list of all my wins, and some of these wins, when they came up, I forgot that I had done these things. And I even surprised myself of all the things that I was capable of doing in this short life that I've lived so far. And when I got to read them, my self-confidence exploded to other levels because if I have done these things already, what else am I capable of? So instead of like scrolling on social media, looking at everyone else's highlight reel, focus and look to make your own personal highlight reel. It's impossible to watch and not feel proud of yourself. By the way, if you need to, it's okay to start small. Like your first win might be just watching this video. That's okay. Sooner or later, you're going to see a win that at one point you thought was impossible. And then that's when you're going to see what you're truly capable of. Remember, when it comes to imposter syndrome or feeling like a fraud, you are not alone. There's so many people out there who are suffering from this, and I just don't want them or you to suffer anymore. You're more capable than you think. And I really want you to know that. This is your story. And while you can't rewrite the past, you can certainly rewrite what it means to you, and you can definitely write how it ends. Here's what we covered. We talked about identifying your lies because they don't define who you are. We talked about reframing your wins to see your success for what it really is, which is your success. And number 3, build an anti-imposter routine so you can keep that self-doubt in check for good. So by identifying the lies, reframing your wins, and building a routine to maintain confidence, you're going to quickly see that imposter syndrome is nothing but a story. And you have the power to rewrite it. Now go out there and absolutely crush it. But first, if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, please share this with someone who really needs to hear this message so they can overcome imposter syndrome and fear and self-doubt too. And don't forget to comment below. I want to know which step you're starting with today. This gets to be your moment. So step up, take action, and become iconic. I'll see you in the next video.